Okie doke. Welcome, everybody, once again, and Happy New Year. Wow, I can't believe it's already the end of 2025. I don't know if I'm really ready for 2026 at this point. My voice is still garbage at this point. Yesterday, my friend Richard Bender came down from, well, down and east from Hagerstown to visit me, and he had to visit also his son just north of where we were. We were in Rockville, Maryland. We had lunch at a nice Peruvian restaurant, and hopefully he loved the potatoes with the special sauce that they are famous for. So we discussed a lot of things, and maybe some ideas as to how to proceed for 2025, especially since I am not entirely sure I'm ever going to become monetized again to be able to sustain the channel, at least, to be able to buy supplies and things to last the whole year. So we decided that maybe we'll do something special for those who decide to join Patreon. Patreon is a monthly donation, just a couple of bucks a month. And of course, the more members we get, the more income the channel receives. But the idea is to provide some special content that no one else will have access to. And that would be, for example, uh, half-hour long video calls, or the same thing we do here when we have a guest here on StreamYard. And then we would discuss specific things that I am not going to make a video about. And we would only make that available to members, those who decide to join, or patrons. And that's usually the way that works. That's like a extra incentive for people to join because they feel like they're getting something special that no one else is getting. And normally what people do is they just upload a video, make it what they called where no one can actually see it on YouTube yet. It's just requires a special link. So that link is sent to Patreon. And for the first week or so, only the patrons have access to those videos. And then later they become public, but only after the patrons have seen it. Well, I want to make some specialty stuff where I will speak to, say, for instance, have a multi um, uh, guest video with, say, Mike Lee, Matt McNamara, maybe again Richard Bender and others. I have my friend in Wisconsin who's very knowledgeable printing with the 1100, and those sort of things would be only available to patrons that decide to join Patreon. And I think that'll be a good incentive for people to join. They're going to get content that no one else is going to be able to see. And those videos would never go on YouTube until much, much later down the road. That gives you the, maybe the incentive to join. The link is on that one app that I keep showing you guys. It is now activated. It is brand new. And it is ready to be used. So I will go ahead and just post it again. Let me get this correct one open. Here we go. And again, I just don't want to push this. It's just that it's looking bad for the channel. Every time I try to reapply for the last level, they tell me that I did something naughty before, and I'm not being, I'm not being, what is it, awarded that next level. So my strategy is going to be because there's one more option where you just don't provide anything, where you just let your channel grow. And maybe after I have enough new history, as they call it, with this new channel, maybe they will give me the approval to apply for what they call a member, a not a member, but yeah, to become a partner. That's it. And that way I can get monetized. Again, I do have an AdSense account, AdSense from Google, so that is not an issue. But yeah, it's getting to that third level, regardless of whether I have, 1,000 subscribers or not, and 4,000 watch hours. I think I'll have that by this week anyway. And the subscribers, I only need like 50 more, something like that. So we'll see. No, 300 more. So we'll see. Anyway, I will have that available. I will make it here, and I'm going to post it after the New Year's on Facebook. And again, all you got to do is uh, click on it and join. It's at the bottom of the chat right now, right here. But first of all, I'm going to welcome everyone who decided that they had enough time to kill to hang out with Joe today. And I really, really do appreciate that. We're going to be doing some discussions about print prism and theories that Richard and I came up with yesterday. And I attempted to do something, and it didn't quite work out, Richard. And that was the um, calibration of my printer's scanner. So the idea being that scanners, printers are mass produced. I don't think they calibrate them in the factory. I think a scanner could be calibrated, and maybe something like the Epson V500 or higher perfection has been pre-calibrated before you get it. But that printer is not yet available in the list of printers that can be used with Print Prism. I think Mike Cheney is concentrating on printers that have printers as part of the setup, like all-in-one type printers. At this point, I don't think he has uh, done anything with the individual standalone scanners. I mean, and so we'll see. But we'll talk about that, and I'll try to walk through what I tried to do last night, and maybe people have any suggestions as to how can I proceed, because it did not let me proceed, and maybe I'm doing something wrong, and it's not really that what's the name where that's what's the word when easy to follow. You just look at the instructions. Oh, it becomes second nature to do it. No, it's a little cryptic. So, all right, let's begin with the top contender here. Um, he joined at 7:14 this morning. Ron Cake, Trenton, New Jersey, and EcoTank 8550, QMH Ultimate Lifetime, Canon R5 and 7D Mark I. Welcome again. Nigel Waters from the UK. He was here at 7:40 this morning, my time. Canon Pro 300 with all the trimmings. Richard Bender is here with his Nikon D300 HDR photography, EcoTank 8550, QMH Ultimate Print Prism, and Epson 4180 flatbed scanner and Red River papers. And we're going to be printing that image you sent me the other day. We're going to do it on the Strathmore linen paper. And I've already printed the sublimation transfer version of it to print on a 8x12 sheet of aluminum. Let me show you real quick what that looks like. Where did I put it? Over here. I got the other one here ready to go. Gosh, why can't I remember where I put things? Oh my goodness. I don't want to have to reprint this again. I just may have to. I don't know where it went. Too many things going on. All right. Yeah, I may have to just reprint it. If I cannot find it, we'll just reprint it. That's not an issue. I have paper already loaded over there anyway. Okay, so that's gonna be fun. And then we're gonna do a 12 by 12, which is kind of iffy on my size of press because the larger and the closer you get to the edges of the plate, and the more chances of a change in temperature on the surface of the plate, and that can cause issues. But this is what we're going to print. It's a scary pirate ship. Whoever that is right there is holding a nice jack-o'-lantern. You can see that. And we're going to print that. It's going to be reversed, of course. This was created by Richard using AI and Photoshop. That should be okay. We'll see. What I was able to do last time was to use a full sheet of the protective paper on top. I was trying to use two sheets, and that was causing a little bit of a maybe misalignment as far as pressure goes. And I tried it with just the whole sheet covering it this time, basically because all I had was 11 by 17 paper to cover my smaller 8 by 12, sublimations. But when doing something like an 11 by 14, and the plating's only 15 by 15, you get into issues with temperature differential on the surfaces of the plating, and it's not the best. Okay, so even though the heat press was like 300, and that was purchased for me by a very, very generous doctor that was watching my channel back then in those days, and decided that I needed a better heat press. And I got notified that he was sending it. And sure enough, it arrived directly from the seller. Feslope is here. This is Fred Elias, Warren, Michigan, Epson 80 Ecotank. He says 8850. Is there an 8850, or did you mean 8550? Q image, profile prism, print prism, X-ray system, and Nikon D300, and all other goodies. Red River paper, all OEM. Happy holidays to all. Thank you so much. Right, I thought so. By the way, we're gonna try to stay till like 2 o'clock. My daughter invited us over to their house, and she's gonna have some longtime friends that I remember her, when she was working at a retail store, and those girls were always hanging around here. Now they're adult, married with children, and they're coming over to visit from Pennsylvania. So we got invited to go over there and hang with them. By the way, Christmas dinner was wonderful. Our service at church was wonderful, and Christmas morning was fantastic with Nathan opening up on all of his presents. He got a brand new computer that he's going to have to put together with his dad. I mean, literally, it's nothing but parts. So he's going to learn to do that. And his dad obviously is an expert at doing that. So it should be good. It should be a very good gaming type, which is what he wanted anyway. Something modern and up to date. The only problem is 6 months from now, it'll be no longer up to date, right? But anyway, that's what you have to do when you're into computer building. Photo Nikon 780 greetings from cold and snowy Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. 5 below. Right now, it's a little chilly here. It's like under 40, in the mid 30s, something like that. Let me see. 39. Not too bad. Okay, so he's got 2.5 feet of snow. Oh my God. Over the 3 days. Canon Pro 1000, Epson Ecotag 8550, 15,000 Qimage Ultimate Print Prism, OEM ink and papers, plus Red River. I saw a video basically about these special tools that people in Canada have to use to remove 3 feet of snow off of the roof of their cabin or house or whatever. And it's really crazy, although quite ingenious. And of course, they had a bunch of flops where people got buried in snow accidentally, of course. But yeah, no, I don't want any of that. None of it. Sorry, not a fan. Captain Dawsey is here, Richmond, Virginia. Cool and cloudy, actually, with all the trimmings. Sony 877 and 865 and Precision Colors inks. Alrighty. Kevin Bruniarski, snowy Wisconsin. Yeah, that's what I heard. Also, New York getting a lot of snow. Canon Pro 300, Epson Ecotac 8550, Epson XP 15,000 with QMH Ultimate. Listen, I saw the your booking for May. Awesome. I already told my wife, and I told her that during the time you are here with your friend, and your wife, his wife is coming too, right? I want to make sure that I give you as bigger bang for the buck because I know you guys are coming over not just to see me, but to take photographs, and we're going to visit some places that are going to just basically make it all worthwhile. Okay, everything is within an hour from where I live, so and then we'll also go out to lunch a lot. Okay, so wherever we happen to be at, but there is a lot of stuff happening here in this region of the country, so we'll just take some day trips and should be able to provide you and your friends with a lot of opportunities for fantastic photography. And maybe I will start doing some of that as well because I just haven't. Okay. So, having you here with him and his wife is going to get me, going again. And that will be awesome. All righty. Welcome. Again, this is the thing that we need you guys to copy down. Okay. So when you click on it, simply put, you're just going to get a page. It's like an app. So you're just gonna write jtoolman and then .net leafy or lifey. I don't know what that means. And then app and then / just like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what you're gonna get. This is gonna lead you to this. So in your browser, you're gonna see this right there. Click on that and you get sent here. This is my Patreon, sorry. So, no, we don't want that one. We want to go directly to the app. And it's not letting me back out. Goofy thing. So it took me directly to Patreon. That's not what we want. Although it is one of the things available. So why isn't it going back? Always something. Always something. Okay, so we're just going to click on that. Let me just put it up on the. Oh, that's because. Okay, did I do it right? Netfly.app. Okay. Huh. Maybe I didn't copy it correctly. It was working fine the other day when I checked, and this is it was actually updated for me by Mike Lee. Well, I don't get it. Let me make sure I do it here. So, oh, idiot. What a fool. Not a comma, but a dot. Goofy. Yeah, I'm terrible. Here we go. That should be better. And it's still doing it. Oh, no, 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 no. Those are not my videos, okay? All right. I need to try to fix this in 1 second here. What in the heck is going on? Okay. Let me actually copy it from my actual link because this makes no sense. Ooh, no, I don't want to leave the. I don't want to leave the live stream. No, 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 no. Huh. This is very, very odd. I need my friend's help. I need Mike Lee's help with this because it's just not linking to the correct site. That is weird. Let me try something else. Hang in there with me, folks. Don't get discouraged. Don't leave me yet. Let me see. I'm gonna try something a little bit different here. I'm going into my current YouTube page, and I'm going to look at the actual. So my permissions, this shows exactly what channel, upload defaults, and here we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and load that. Here we go. I don't know what the heck was going on, but this is what you're supposed to get. There, that's it. I might have had a letter wrong. Who knows? But anyway, so here they are. So when you go to, this is for donating directly to PayPal, and this is for Patreon. So you're just going to click on that, and it'll lead you to the sign up page. Basically, what you're going to get is a little bit different than what I'm going to show you because this is my site. So these are videos that I've already uploaded. So we're going to have hundreds of videos and then special exclusive footage here that only members can access. So I may do like a daily little thing here or there where I will show you something different, something new, something I'm trying. I just received this paper and look at the results that I got on the 8550 or the Pro 1000, that sort of thing. So that's what it's going to be for. And it's just going to give people an incentive. I need an incentive to join someone else's Patreon, you see. And, although I love a lot of people that do this, if you're offering me something special, I may think more than just twice, or less than twice to join. I'll be gladly joining you just because I know I'm going to be receiving some priceless information from that particular provider. And that's what I want to do. We're going to cover film scanning. We're going to do all kinds of different things. Again, odd things also as well. Experimentation, that sort of thing. So that's what's coming up. Anyway, enough of that. Let's continue on. Let's see. Captain Dawson, Kevin Berniarski, Snowy, Wisconsin. Yes. And then Richard Bender says, Jose, your HDR write-up for the D300 is coming to you tonight. Oh, okay. Excellent. Thank you. Richard is actually teaching HDR photography at Hagerstown Community College, is it? I think that's what you told me. He also teaches other non-photography related courses. Like he speaks French, so he teaches standard and advanced French. Wow. Amazing. You blow my mind sometimes, man. All right, Judy Ann is here, and we're going to be visiting my Judy Ann this afternoon. Good morning, afternoon from Washington State, Nikon, Fujifilm cameras, and Canon Pro 200. Excellent. Kevin says, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button for Jose. The link works for me, no problem. Yeah, it's just me. It was just me. I was making an error when I was transferring it over to the browser. Okie doke. So let's talk about what can we do. Okay, so here we have the chart that you scan. Okay, now think about this. Instead of using, when you use a commonly available spectrophotometer, whether it is, I put the Color Monkey away in one of my cabinets here, but the Color Monkey or the other brand that came out later, I'm not going to advertise the company because I haven't spoken with them yet, or the XP i1 Pro, not XP, but you know what I mean. Here it is right here. I hope I can show it to you. i1 Pro, you see it right here? And that's super expensive. So with those instruments, spectrophotometers, you can calibrate your monitor, you can calibrate your printer, but you can also calibrate your scanner. Except I can't seem to get past a certain point. And the idea is you scan a chart of color patches, and there are many, and you can choose which one. So I chose this one. This one right here. So basically, it looks like this. And when I choose that passport, the so-called color checker passport photo, you put this on your scanner table and you scan it. You just scan this part only. This one, containing those color patches, not this one, this one. And then if you have to crop, you crop and make sure that you get it down to close to the edges, okay? You don't need to have this text right here or that little measuring device there. Just crop it, scan it at 300 ppi. Don't use any kind of adjustments or any sort of thing in your scanning software. Well, for the 8550, I have to use Epson's scanning tool, which I have installed. Let me show you what those look like. I have the folder right here, Epson software. I'm going to just pop it over there a second here so you can see. So right here, so you got Epson Photo Plus Tool, Photo Plus, Print Layout, Epson Printer Correction Checker, Epson Scan Smart or Smart Scanner, and Epson Software Update. So I have all of those tools available. So I used the scanning tool, and it took me to the page, and basically I just scanned this. Inside the scanning option of the i1 Pro software, the one that I would use with my spectrophotometer to create a profile or to calibrate my monitor, I cannot get past the point where now I'm going to analyze that scan. So I have the scan saved as a TIFF file, like they recommended, and it just will not. The button to proceed does not become available. It's just grayed out. So I think it's telling me that my spectrophotometer is not registered with X-Rite. I mean, so I can't get past that. I'm going to have to back up and maybe go into the regular software which they claim is no longer supported, and try to get myself re registered, and then maybe that part of the that button will become available, and I'll be able to click on it. And what it's going to do is just going to take this image. So this is what I scanned. I keep getting all these pop-ups. Excuse me 1 second. Now I cannot find where that image went. I swear. I cannot even open a folder on my desktop. What the heck is going on here? I can open an image. Yeah, I can open that. And I cannot open a folder. Okay, there we go. Finally. So I need to find that image that I created. And here it is. So now I can show it to you guys. So simply put, all I did was scan that photograph, not the photograph, but the patches. And here it is. This is the scan that my scanner was able to produce on the 8550. Right here. So the software is going to auto select these patches. So this is black, dark gray, mid gray or so, light gray, lightest gray, and then white. So it's going to select everything and determine what errors did the scanner introduce. In other words, how far off is this image compared to the actual passport, the so-called color checker passport that I used to do the scanning. And it's going to then create a profile that gets assigned to the scanner. And that way, whatever I scan from that point onward should be reproduced a lot more accurate. So that gets us to the point where we have to talk about, for instance, if a scanner is produced by Epson and then sold to me, and I can just use their software and scan something and scan a photograph or a set of color patches, which are set values, how accurate will my TIFF file be? You see what I mean? So if something is not accurate, it has to be adjusted. So the profiling system that always gets used is just a bunch of adjustments. This was supposed to be this, but your whatever produced that, and it's off by this amount, this amount RGB, right? And also density. So it gets adjusted. You have to do this. You have to turn back the dial to this to be able to get 350 degrees to make your cookies so they don't get burnt, or that they actually get baked because they may have been too cold. Even though it said 350, it was actually 250. You see what I mean? So it has to make these corrections, and then it creates this profile. The profile is just a bunch of these corrections put together in one file. And those are orchestrated by the director. It tells the scanner from now on, you are to correct this. These other few colors, they were actually correctly reproduced. So leave those alone. And of course, there's not 16,000 colors there. It's only a handful. It has to interpolate. So how far off? This is this point. We were talking about this while we were eating. How far off are these scanners? That Mike Cheney is relying on them, that they are sufficiently within a narrow range of error range. In other words, are they all, because you don't have to add ink to a scanner to test it, you can just test it. Are these scanners being tested by Epson or Canon when it comes to a Canon all-in-one printer? Are they being tested with a chart to determine within if they are within that margin of error? And if so, are they just left alone? If they are way off, do they get calibrated to be within that margin of error? Or are they being calibrated to be right smack in the middle? That's what I would want. That's what Richard would want. That way, if I make a print prism profile with my 8550 scanner, then I can send it to him via email. And he doesn't have to create it. He can just use it with the same paper that I used to create the profile with. You see what I'm getting at? It's the same thing with Pro 1000, Pro 1100, the so-called internal calibration. That just brings that printer, instead of being within that margin of error, it brings it to the middle. If you do 5 of those printers, all 5 of them are along the middle. There is no longer a margin of error. They're all pretty much producing the same level of accuracy. Scanners are not going to be, I don't think they're pre-calibrated by the factory. What do you guys think? Give me your uh, thoughts on that. Okay, just don't be shy. Just put them here. Ask whatever you wish. I want to know what you guys think about that. Since we're using a scanner, basically as a pseudo spectrophotometer, the software is actually doing the spectrophotometry, but the scanner is just scanning all of those patches. Yeah, there are 11 rows of 10 each per row. And I don't know how many. I'm not going to count them. Okay. So there's like 16,000 little squares here. Somehow Mike was able to create the software that analyzes each one of those patches and determines which way the error goes, if there's any error at all. Okay. And then the math that has to be, used to create a profile. And it does it in a matter of like half a minute. How the heck is that possible? All right. So I want to know what you guys think. Any one of you who is using Print Prism and is satisfied, presumably what Mike will tell me is that you're not going to see the difference. Okay, and even in a batch of EcoTank 8550, say 500 of them, is going to be within that margin of error, which is not detectable by the human eye. But guys like Mike Lee, for example, and even Mike Cheney, and me and Richard, and many of you out there as well. I'm not gonna leave you guys out. Many of you are, I would consider them to be picky enough to want as close to perfection as possible. Like my Epson Perfection V500 photo scanner is called. So perfection must mean something. Maybe those scanners have been pre-calibrated at the factory. So when you just simply use them, say on auto mode, it's producing as good a result as you can, hope for. So if I was to scan that color checker passport on my V500, will I get a better scan than on my XP? I mean, my EcoTank 8550, or even the XP 15,000 upstairs. I don't think he has done that one yet. So that one is not available to be used to scan those charts that Mike has created. And what a piece of work that is. Yeah, to me, it's just mind-boggling what it has been able to do. No one has any opinion? Come on. I'm surprised. Who is using Print Prism? Let me know. And what results are you getting? And are you satisfied with the results? And have you been able to then do, say, if you happen to do a profile, just simply that wasn't available before because you're using some odd paper on an 8550 from, Epson. Obviously, there's not going to be a profile for it. But say, for instance, you're printing on the 8550 and you're using a paper and there happens to be a profile for it from the manufacturer. Does your profile made with the Print Prism software match? Is it as good? Is it better? Tell me. Tell me what you think. Because this is going to encourage Mike Cheney to, say, add more features to that software. Say, add, for instance, more scanners that you can scan from. If I could scan from my V500, I would definitely do that rather than my 8550. But I think it's reaching the genre of people who are using something like an 8550, which is a do-all type printer, although now has been recognized as being an actual photo printer, even by Epson. I've seen some advertisement where now they're using the term photo printer, where before they were not using that term. So let me know. Let me know. Photon Icon says the links were suffice for me. Okay, we got that. I'm happy with Print Prism. More accurate than my data color spider print. Much easier. Oh, interesting that you say that. Hang on. Let me see if I still have that here. Something that I can actually reach it. I did have a data color. They sent me just for, it was a spectral, not a spectral, it was a colorimeter. I no longer have it there. I think I put it away. And yeah, I have to agree with you. It was not as accurate as the Color Monkey. It was not as accurate as of course, the i1 Pro 2, and it wasn't something that would give me the same results every time. If I calibrated my monitor and then did the before and after, I could see a difference because, say, my monitor was never calibrated before out of the box. You will see a difference. But then a month later, I shouldn't be able to see a difference. If I recalibrate using the same, colorimeter, I should be able to get basically the same results. So when I do before and after, I no longer see a difference. Okay. That's what I noticed, and that's why I just stopped dealing with it. They gave it to me for free, so I cannot complain. But yeah, I did notice that. Hello, Mr. Coffee. How are you, my friend? Welcome back. Photonicon 780 says, I am using Ilford Smooth Pearl EcoTank 8550. Ilford does not make profiles. Profile turned great. All right. So, you guys are relying on visual results, which is, I think, what most people that own an 8550 would be more concerned with. You're not going to be measuring color patches. Like I could create a profile, and I'm really one of those nuts who then will print a color patch target. I know the original values, and I scan each one and determine how good that. If the profile's really good, I'm going to be very, very close to the original values. Okay. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to print a photograph. And that will get me either unhappy with my results or very happy and very satisfied with my results. I know you spoke about disabling the Canon Pro 200 ink monitoring system. I have one color with an X and another one with a Y. So the X one is done, is empty. And the Y or the I, yeah, Y. No, what is that? Exclamation mark with yellow color. That means it's low. So you need to have already been refilling your cartridges. So the way to have done that, of course, is to remove the bulb, but you cannot see. They're opaque. So I want to ask you, I know we discussed that, I think via chat or messenger or something. Um, the way to do it is you need to, once you decide to do this, you need to buy some empty CLI 42 see-through cartridges like these. You can see through. And tell me if you have done that. And then transfer the matching chips from your CLI 65s to the CLI 42s. Okay. All you did now is transfer the identity of your magenta CLI 65 to a transparent see-through CLI 42 magenta, but you still have the CLI 65 chip on it. And now you fill those. And the best thing is to just buy the already modified set from Rick Johnson. Okay. That is listed on that app that I posted the link for, that I couldn't transfer myself because I'm really bad with my eyes. That will take you to Rick Johnson's eBay page. Buy the set, and that set you need to then actually he can. I don't know if he can do that for you, transfer the chips properly, but it's a semi easy job. But simply put, now you have a set of CLI 42s with the identity of CLI 65s. Refill those with ink, and you pop them in the printer. Um, if they are already empty, I think the process would be to press the second button, the one below the power button, and just hold it there. And if you have a 200, it should have a screen, and you should see an indication that says processing on it. If it does not, and I don't know, I never have done the 200 or the 100 for, the reason that I can actually reset my 100 cartridges. But for the 200 with the 200 chips, I don't know what the exact process is. There is a discussion and a procedure, step-by-step procedure in the Precision Colors page. I think I sent you that link. You just go there and follow that. Let me see, Precision. We'll get you set up here. Don't worry. We will make this available. So let me go to the Canon. Actually, let me just walk through the whole thing. I'm going to hide this, and I'm going to jump here. So we're going to go to Canon. And what is this? Okay, important information. Okay, that's been there for a while. Canon N8 color. Pro 200. Instructions. How to switch chips right there. Refilling the 200. Disabling the chip to make the printer chipless. Here it is. So you have, in this case here, you have, let me see, right here you have one low, and then the rest. So it says printer indicates a magenta and yellow are low. You must continue to use the printer. No need of any action yet. When the printer returns the message that the ink has run out, you refill the tank. Okay? So follow that. It's a little bit different than the Pro 1000 actually. The printer will continue to work, but the printer will continue to work when it is put in, that the cartridge is put back in. But ask about whether or it has purchased. Okay, this English is way off. I don't know why. Further printing will eventually bring up this screen. You again acknowledge, just follow what the display says. So it says that you have run out. It is in the run out condition. The following ink, yellow, CLI 55, and please replace the ink tank. If you want to continue using the tank, click OK. So you just click OK. And then after that, again, I can't read this because it's not a really good monitor. But anyway, just follow the instructions here. and each cartridge will then be disabled. In other words, their chips will be disabled. But you need to have a see-through card, not the original cartridges. You need to have a CLI 42 equivalent with the CLI 65 chip. So if you have not done that, then you need to do that first. Okay, so he says, yeah, I know what you said. Yeah, I got you. I have CLI 65 clear ink card. Okay, they're not CLI 65 anymore. They're CLI 42s. Um, so those are internally they have something different. They have a little prism that allows the printer to determine whether there's any liquid ink in that chamber. Um, the 42s need that, but the 65s no longer need that. The printer is using some other um, technology to determine when the cartridge is low. So yeah, okay. So what's the issue then? I send you the link. Have you done it yet? That's you have to follow the instructions. And again, they're totally different than for the Pro 1000. Okay, Photo Nikon 780. Epson has discontinued Perfection photo scanners. Yeah, leaving only cheaper Perfection V19.2 and 39.2. That's weird. And they used to have a Perfection V800, which was like that thick. It was that really super with much higher um, optical resolution, which I then would use for my 35 millimeter film. I would scan the living daylights out of that at the highest possible, even with interpolation. Just go beyond the point where I was actually recording and capturing microscopic detail on the film, literally, and the grain of the black and white negatives, and even color negatives. Yeah, so here is Rick, and he knows that you have already purchased that. So just follow the process, my friend, and you should be fine. Just follow the process. Yeah. Okay. Good to go. Oh, look at that. So you can sell it. Oh my goodness. Then you are all set. Yeah, you're all set. Just keep refilling them. Never let them run out of ink. Okay. Never go beyond, and you will not have once they are disabled, it shows up as a blank. There's no longer, they don't even exist on the driver. When you look to see ink levels, it's gone. They're empty. So you want to every month or so remove cartridges and top them off. You'll get one purge cycle every month. Big deal. Okay. You would be replacing carts all the time anyway if you hadn't done that. So I think I discussed this last week. Refilling will make your Pro 200 and your Pro 100s last a boatload longer, many times longer, because you're not saturating the internal ink pads as quickly. Okay. My Pro 100, and I was laughing with Richard yesterday that I've had it without a printhead for like over a year now. And I got the printhead right next to it over there. All I got to do is lift the 1400 off of it. That's why I haven't done it, because the 1400 is on top of it right now. My other sublimation printer. All I got to do is lift that off, put the printhead, and add the cards. They're already refilled. They're already reset. All I need is a printhead. Yeah, I'm going to try to do that before the year end, and bring that printer back to life, and we'll put it to use again. Okay, we will put it to use and cover that. Maybe I will actually do a video for Patreon on how to do that. Okay, I'll bring my camera and tripod over here, and we'll perform that operation and make that one of the available videos for any subscriber. Okay. Exactly. Yes, I remember that. I remember that very, very well. We had one at work. It was awesome. I loved it. It would be interesting to see a comparison by Mike Cheney of his old Profile Prism program that calibrates the scanner using a standard Kodak IT8 color patch print compared to Print Prism. That would be, I'm sure, yeah. Anything we are thinking about, I'm sure he's already done. Uh, trust me, he doesn't, leave anything out. In other words, 8 pages of instructions. You have telling me you're still confused about the process. Yeah, go back, and just read that. Yeah, just a little nervous about the process. No, don't be. And excuse me. And if anything happens, the printer is not hurt. Okay, the process only affects the chips, so you can always go back, save your hide. It'll cost you some money, but you can always go back and buy original cartridges again. It's not like you're doing something to the firmware or something like that. No. How much are they asking for a B850? I wonder. Because this wasn't that expensive. I don't think I paid more than 200 for that. I think it was 100 and something ages ago. Long time ago. Okay, it's 1 o'clock. We've been yapping. Well, I have been way too long. Let me continue on. Yeah, it's still great. Photo Nikon says it is good. My 500 is lovely. I love it. I love the software. I use it in professional mode so that I can make also. So, whoa, wow. Oh, Canada, yeah. So it'll be probably about 1,500 here. That's still too much. Too much dinero. Okay. So yeah. So I'll just leave Mike to answer that question. And it's just something we were just throwing up in the air yesterday during lunch and trying to discuss. So let's go ahead and print something before my little schedule that I'm trying to stick to runs out of time here. So I'm going to open up QImage. Let that puppy load. Let me go over what I did to print this. It's 12 by 12. It's actually 12.1 by 12.1. So just a little larger than the actual supposedly 12 by 12 piece of aluminum that I'm going to be transferring to. So there's the 1400 presentation paper matte, 13 by 19 paper, and then here 12.1 by 12.1. That's the actual border. No stroke around it. So there's no little black line around it at all. So simply put, what I did was just to add that image. We'll find it right here, like so. And I printed it, and it got reversed in the driver. The driver is set to none, and it is using the actual profile that I created for aluminum on that printer. So that's already printing, so we don't have to repeat that. The one that I do have to repeat because I can't find it is the smaller one. And this was the image that he sent me the other day. So let's go back and change this to the Epson 4200. We'll use it online here via Wi-Fi, and we're going to load 8.5 by 13. So that's what I have currently loaded, and I want a size of 8.1 by 12.1. And I don't want that image to be printed like that. I want to have this one. What was it? No. Where did I put it? Right here. This is the one we want. So let me double check. I think I already did a pre-sharpening and all of that good stuff. Yes, I have. Let me show you what that looks like. Right there. 1 by 150. I don't want to do anything else to it. I want to leave it as is. So we are good to go there. Let me go ahead and immediately send it to the printer. Now I'm just going to quickly double check. I got the correct profile, 4200, and that's the 400 patch profile that I made using sublimation aluminum, 8.5 by 13, presentation paper matte, good to go. Of course, the driver will be set to none. Let me just quickly show you that. And let's look at the advanced, custom advanced, and it should be no color management. There we go. So that is handled automatically, actually, by QImage. And we'll just print it. While that is printing, I'm going to go ahead and prep the 12 by 12 because I want to see how good a job we can do with that. Larger than normal. We usually, I think the maximum we're normally doing nowadays is the 8 by 12. So let me bring my aluminum over here. My printed scary pirate ship with whatever that dude is. And boy, are the edges on this, ouch, that 12 by 12 really, really sharp. I'm going to have to carefully go over the edges with my emery board. We're removing the protective layer off of the sublimatable aluminum. If I go back and try to stick it, it sticks right back. This is really good. I would like to see the manufacturing of this type of media. I would love to see the machine that does that. Okay, so that's going to be printed now. Okay, here we go. Let me reduce this. Okay. So now we have to take this printed transfer sheet. We'll look at it for any kind of blemishes. If you have any kind of lint or anything on top of it, it's going to block. And there's nowhere you can retouch aluminum, okay? So make sure that this is really, really clean. The aluminum should be perfectly clean after removing all of that protective coating. I'm going to make sure that everything is within the border. Wow, you know, this must be really accurate for a change. This 12 by 12 may just be 12 by 12 because normally they are actually smaller than the so-called stated size. And you end up with quite a big margin, or what I should say is a bleed. So I'm just going to put several little strips on each edge. Make sure that I am within that bleed margin. Okay, this should be okay. So, all right, we'll let that rest there. I'm going to go ahead and preheat this. This is what I'm talking about. I have a whole sheet of paper. This is parchment paper. So I'm just going to center it. I have a sheet of, let me show you what this looks like. A sheet of Teflon underneath, and that's to protect my heat-resistant rubber base. This is what allows the press to maybe press some irregular shaped media like ceramic plates and things like keychains and that sort of thing. You can do that as long as it's polyester. You can sublimate on it. So one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more pressure to it. Once this preheats and it's done, this is done here. This should be beautiful. This should be beautiful. Look at that. I'm going to make sure that I do not. Let me see what would have happened. Yeah, I cannot. I think the signature almost got cut off there, and maybe it's because the format of the 8x12. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So you see that the signature, maybe is that the way the original is? Let me look at it under editing mode. No, see, there's more space. So there's an issue here. So the format did not quite jive with the 8x12. So let's see what happens if I do not crop, but it will no longer be 8x12, you see. So now I have this whole image, but now I cannot print 8x12. I would have to trim the resulting print. So I don't think, yeah, I think one way to get around this would be to, okay, that's not hot. I want to be able to print this. I don't want to ignore it. This is one that I promised Richard I would print. So let's just go here and see that 8.1, 12.1. So I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of a cheat. So I'm going to go ahead and this is the actual format. So yours is a little bit more rectangular. So I'm going to move this over. And sorry, I'm going to crop the left a little bit. Maybe I will bring it about that point right here. That gives me a lot more space between your signature. And that's the best I can do. And the thing is, I don't think my trimmer will be able to trim along the 12 inch cleanly. It's having trouble with anything beyond 10 inches. So let's go ahead and see if we can get away with about there. Because remember, there's going to be some bleed involved as well. So, and you'll just have to, we will have to live with the this flower being cropped right here. But that's the best that I can do. Because I have to have a bleed and I have to make it 8 by 10 by 12. So we'll reprint this. Let me make sure I have a sheet of paper there. Yes, I do. I am not going to use this. I always get rid of anything I don't use. If it doesn't deserve printing, it doesn't deserve to live. That's my motto. So let that print. come back to me. That should be nice and hot. I'm going to go ahead and increase the pressure a wee bit more. Let me see. And I'm just going to test it by hand. There we go. Now you got to keep in mind that I'm going to be adding that piece of aluminum, which will add to the thickness. So that should help get that pressure equalized, in other words. So I'm going to remove the top sheet. And this has to be like perfectly centered. I have to put this aside for a second. And I got to manually check the edges. Check the back and the front. Yeah, see, this is all center. Now we have about equal front and back and equal side by side. Okay, that's good. It's about as center as it's going to ever get. And now we cross our fingers. There we go. Good. We will let that sublimate. That is printing now. We should have a little bit more of a border. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make a 8 by 12 on the, a 9 by 12 on the so-called linen paper from Strathmore. So the other one was 12 by 8 or 8 by 12, a little bit narrower. See what I mean? So this format, I think, will fit the 9 by 12 ratio a heck of a lot better. So that has to be printed off, obviously, on the 8550. So we'll go ahead and make some changes. I'm going to remove this. And go to the 8550. Go to presentation paper matte. Yeah. What we actually want is the vivid fine art right there. And then we'll choose, I don't have a custom size saved, so we'll go ahead and enter that 9 by 12. Click OK. There it is. And we want to have a border. And the border has to be like 75 or 3/4 of an inch, 0.75. It could be a little bit narrower than that, but not necessarily. So we'll leave it at that for now. Let's check to see how lucky we got here. We'll let that sit for a while, let it cool off. Okay, so let's go ahead and load this. And in this case, since we don't have to worry about, trimming or any such thing, I can just leave the crop off. Okay, so this is 9, as you can see, 8, 9 by 12. I'm going to reduce the border. It's a little bit too wide. Let me go to like 0.55, like so. And I am not going to crop. So here, that's why it's not fitting the formats that we're using, because the actual ratio of the image is just different. So now we have a full application of the signature here. We can see it. I'm going to add a black border around it, because that just gives it that little bit of extra accent. And we have the Palo Duro. That's not what we want. We want to have the Vivid Fine Art profile that we made not long ago. And we just hit on the date, go to the latest 2025 right here. We'll look for Strathmore Linen VFA mode, print prism, boom, and boom. That's it. And we'll print that baby. So nothing has been cropped here. This is the complete image at this point. Okay. Let's double check. Actually, see, I don't want that. Undo the crop. There we go. It remembers the last thing. Okay, so look at it now. This is a lot more rectangular, more panoramic. This is what what Richard intended it to be. So this is how we're going to print it. I don't want to narrow this lateral borders here too much. I want it to stay the way it is. So this is going to be it. So for this to be printed on aluminum, I would have to trim that long end, and I don't think I'm able to do that. I would need a custom size sheet of sublimatable aluminum to be able to print that, including everything on it, So we have the Strathmore Linen VFA profile, print prism profile, user defined size 9 by 12, velvet fine art 8550, and we just print it. Now I'm going to get a frame ready after I remove this. And I want to see what we got. I always do this. I don't want to shock myself into seeing our results here. I want to remove the tape, and then I'm going to look at the transfer film. That gives me an instant show as to how good or how bad our results are going to be. Okay, I see something odd here. Oh, see what I mean? I had a little piece of something. Gosh, that ticks me off. I just felt it, and I removed it. A little piece of something, like a little piece of grit or something, and that prevented that from transferring. It's going to have a little blob. I hope not, but I'm afraid it will. And that's what I mean by, don't forget to check your transfer print. I printed that last night, so maybe it just happened. Yeah, I see it. But you know what? It looks like something that belongs there. So I am not going to cry too much about that. I'm just going to leave it there. It looks like something in the water. But these edges are ridiculous. Let's take the board here. And didn't I just send that to the printer? I guess I did not. And load. Okay. This is one that I would consider putting a little corner guard on it, but maybe if I round the edges a little bit, just to take that sharpness away. When they use the trimmer to trim the individual sheets from the roll, this is produced by Roll. It's a gigantic roll of aluminum, and it's coated on a machine and then cured, and then as it reaches the end of the conveyor belt or whatever, it is then trimmed or sheared off, and it's that shearing process that produces that sharp, will cut you. There's no tomorrow if you're not careful. Now, the expensive material, Chromalox. No, it's smooth and beautifully made. I mean, gosh, but it's expensive as heck. Very expensive. Why isn't it sent to the printer? What's going on? I sent it to the, oh, okay. I disconnected the USB. So let me go ahead and delete those jobs. I'm going to use the Wi-Fi version. But anyway, I trimmed off and I cleaned it up, and there it is. Looking good. Okay, let me take care of this real quick here. And I got to go and delete those jobs. Otherwise, they're going to be there forever. I got to use the Wi-Fi version. Yeah, it's disconnected. Here you go, delete. No wonder it didn't print. The reason is because I wanted to have my 4200 via USB. So there's only so many USB connections I have here available. So I'll just change. I'm just going to change the printer to the Wi-Fi. So, and that would be this one. All right, we'll let that reload again. And then I'm going to get myself a frame. But before that, I'll get this. We'll check it out this time. Wow, that's going to be incredible. That's going to be crazy. Look at that. And the got a full signature, backwards, of course. Clearly visible. Lay this here. Get my 8x12 aluminum. This has been treated a little bit better. It's a little easier to remove the plastic coating. Now I just printed that, so it should be there shouldn't be any kind of junk on top of it. But let me just make sure. You're supposed to use a fine brush on it, maybe canned air. Make sure there's nothing on this that will prevent that image from transferring. So I want to make sure I get all of the signature here. There's quite a bit of bleed. This so-called 8x12 is not really 8x12. So I want to include as much of the signature as possible. Oh my God, that loaded by itself? No, it did not. No, it did not. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. Oh, there's 3 jack-o'-lanterns on the rocky part of the land, and then one dangling from the mast. 3 of them on the mast of the ships. Awesome. On the sublimation print. Here we go. Ready and load. That should be fine. Okay. Yeah, let me show you what I'm talking about. Look at the right here, here, and here. That's amazing. And here as well, on the rocky part of the image. Nice. And the cool thing about this is when you tell the AI to create an image, you use terminology And so, whatever you describe is what it's going to attempt to create for you. Um, it's just awesome. I love it. But don't use it to cheat. Okay, do not use it for that. Use it only for good things, to create beautiful things. Don't use it to, falsify images. That's what you run into online. This politician, that politician have been caught doing this. No, he was not. She was not. Come on. But people tend to believe what they see. And depending on what application you use, and some of them are really, really good. They can produce some really good results. There's a way to determine, there is software, uses, of course, AI, to determine if something was created with AI or not. So, AI against itself. But again, I use it for repairing, I use it for enhancing. If I can make something better, then sure, I will use AI. You can use it to fix original photographs that you have. Okay, and that's another good reason for that. Okay, let's go ahead and place this here. Overall, though, the results of that 12 by 12 are really good. Very even. I don't see any issues whatsoever. That makes me happy because just not too long ago, I don't think I could, produce anything this big on that particular heat press. Again, if I don't show you and tell you that little spot right there, you may not even notice it. It could be a little fairy in the water, just shining, glowing. Um, but yeah, looking good, very even. Yep. Wow, that is just too cool for words. Okay. So this is printing okay. By the way, before I even began using, I did a nozzle check, and that nozzle check gave me a perfect result. Now I could, with Richard's permission, I showed him what I've been making in miniature, and I think he was impressed. Um, I'm making a set of, I have different levels, different tiers of quality. Everything is high quality, but different tiers of how much detail and effort it took to create all of my miniature paintings and prints. I told him about the show coming up in October in Frederick, Maryland, and he's going to attend. So hopefully he will be impressed by seeing what is being offered by all of us group of miniature artists. So the one that I showed him is my top tier, and I'll show you some of those at a later date. I'm slowly making them. Besides, I got all of next year, just about. It'll be October 3rd, I believe, is when the show is. My mistake, Epson discontinued the B600. Yeah. The V800 is the latest one that I had back when I was working, and it was awesome. I mean, I have to tell you, it was just fantastic. I couldn't believe the quality that I was getting from that. Okay, so let me go ahead and close this. It is awesome. Oh my God. So let's get us a frame here. These are 12 by 12. That's not what we want. We want 9 by 12. That should be one of these right here. And it looks like I have to order some more. And this is why, sorry there, this is why we have to generate funding, because I'm buying these not with the channel's money, which there isn't any anymore, but my own. And that can only be done after the bills get paid, if you get what I mean. So all we're going to do is just take the material these frames come with and use it as backing. Just like so. And I believe I have this oriented correctly. Let me make sure. There. So the next time I see Richard, he will be getting this one from me. I think that's all we need right here. Like so. Boom. Yeah. And here it is. Now I'm going to let him sign it. It'll be printed by me, but signed by him. So that's it. It's unbelievable how good that paper works with our 8550 using VFA mode. I recently, just the other day, I gave Nathan my Strathmore canvas paper. Now, canvas paper is different because it just does not really work very well with so-called printing. Okay, it's for painting, only for painting, not for printing. So, and I said, when you get a chance, you were playing around with your acrylic paints the other day. Consider making something for Grandpa, and Grandpa will frame it for you. So that hopefully will encourage him to print. But the paper was great. It's just too thin, and it was, even with a profile, it was actually laying down too much ink in the shadows. So areas that should have been dense black, just like I would say maybe areas such as this right here, other areas that have a high density level, maybe the branches of that little tree right there would be wet, and you could accidentally smear them, and I didn't want to deal with that. So, and it just didn't look right. So I decided not to use it any longer. So I had a couple of pads of that. So now that belongs to Nathan. Hopefully he'll put it to good use. So let's go ahead and peel this off. Now this should be okay, I hope. This is always an adventure. You never know what you're going to get. When you see online YouTube videos, think of it as it's always going to be perfect because of what? Because of editing. This is live. This is live, and it's what you see is what you get. You take all these little hunks away. We'll look at the transfer sheet, looking for any errors, any dark areas. If you see a little dark spot, that area did not transfer. But this is all very even. I love the way the signature is located. And again, simply because the format, the ratio of the image doesn't really match the 9 by 12 for the paper or the 8 by 12 for the aluminum. Whenever I create something, I have to think ahead of how am I going to print this? What am I going to print it on? Let me look at the image, the original image. No, I have an issue here. I think I have an issue with my yellow channel. Because this is not correct. This is, it's like yellow is missing completely. So let me run and also check. I'll be right back. If that's the case, then I have to. It should be like this. If that is the case, that just means my yellow channel maybe is empty. See what I mean? It should match this. So guess what happens to this? Don't look. I'm so glad you can recycle aluminum. I have to go through all of this trash that I have here and separate it. Okay, let's do an also check. Let me put some real paper on here. I don't want to run it on sublimation paper, definitely. This will tell me immediately. And I think I already know the answer. There you go. Yellow, completely empty. So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna deal with that a little bit later. But here is my yellow cartridge. So hopefully I should be able to show you that, show you guys how I go about refilling these. Let me back up. I think to change a cartridge, you go to maintenance. And I'm using chipless firmware on here, by the way, so in case anyone was wondering. No, 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 no. I can see what I'm doing here. No. Cancel. I need to bear with me. This is real life stuff here. Close. And it's just that this room is so dark right now. I can't see what I'm doing. So we're gonna go to maintenance. ink cartridge replacement. Next, start. And for now, I'm just going to change the yellow. And I have ink, but for some reason, the priming chamber is empty. So let me go ahead and add yellow sublimation ink to it. That's really weird. Shouldn't have a failure like that. I have plenty of ink here. I think a cleaning cycle would have solved it. So if I had known where the heck my other one that I made ended up at, so I'm just going to add ink like so, very carefully here. Well, my priming chamber has ink in it. You got to be careful with these refillable cartridges. They use the priming chamber, which has to have ink that leads directly to the port, the exit port. You got to make sure that I am not sucking back the ink that I add. And later on, when we're off the air, I'll do the other cartridges as well, top them all off. Remember, this is chipless, so it's actually thinking it is completely full. Got to make sure we don't overfill. Okay, that's good enough. See this little chamber right here that has ink in it? So we're good to go. I just got to run a nozzle check, a cleaning cycle actually, then a nozzle check. I hope I can find where the heck did I put the other one that I already printed last night. Then we can proceed and do this. I don't want to waste any more material unnecessarily here. Let me see what the other colors are. Yep. My black needs black, but I'll do that later. Magenta is about 3/4 full. Cyan, oh, cyan is about the same. All right, so completed. And we just close the lid. Where did you go? Where is that one I printed? That one was perfect. And then we should be able to print this one, which is driving me nuts. Where did it go? Oh boy. That is really nuts. How could that have disappeared like that? By the way, I will be selling miniature versions of this. Again, beautifully framed in mahogany frames and also ebony frames, as well as this one. This looks Halloweenish, but it's not. But I think I'll be taking the full-size versions with me and having them on display next to the miniature ones. And that should impress people. I think it will. I think it just might. How could that have disappeared? Unbelievable. Anyway, let's do the nozzle check. It's still doing the purge cycle. Now, okay, so it is done doing that. Let's go ahead and do a nozzle check. Nozzle check and print. Cross fingers. Where the heck did you go? And we have no yellow. It's really odd when a complete channel goes bad like that. That makes me think about something else. Like that channel is not receiving a signal. That gets me a little bit scared. Let me do the cleaning. Let me do just a regular cleaning. And then if I have to, I will refill everything and do a power cleaning and see whether that helps or not. Yeah. And the couple of times that this has happened, it has just happened like that. 1 second it was okay, the next second it is not. And why can't I find that? Where could it have gone? It's not here. Anyway, let's go ahead and let that go and let it finish. And then we'll go ahead and do a nozzle check. And if nothing shows up, then it is some other issue. It'll be not something related to ink delivery, but electronic. This is why I am seriously considering this coming year setting up a sublimation version of a XP. I mean a EcoTank 8550. Almost done. Hang in there, folks. Okay, here we go. Nothing. Now, the mystery here is I have ink. I don't think you can see that, but there is no yellow right here. Let me turn that off. Yeah, there's nothing. That channel is blank. And that never happens. This is totally abnormal. You should have a partial clog, not a full 100% gone all of a sudden from working to not working. That should not be the case. But it is happening. So, there's nothing I can do about it right this minute. I have to work on that later on, not right now. Where the heck did you go? I'm looking in places where I know it's not going to be there, but you know, I'm looking anyway. Okay, so enough of that. Oh, that makes me a little sad. That was a good printer, producing really good results. I could do it on the other. Let me see. I could do it in this printer here. I just have to load that. That seems to be working. Okay. I just want to do the comparison. You know, I cannot leave without finishing that. 33 loyal viewers are still hanging out with me here. And I am shocked, but thank you. Appreciate that. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to unplug my printer also and then replug it just to see if it resets itself somehow. I think it may be related to the chipless firmware. And that was a pain in the butt to install, by the way. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the 1400. There we go. We will load custom size, user defined 8.5 by 13. So 8.5 by 13. And then I'm going to load a custom size of 8.1 by 12.1. In this case, I know that the paper is, the aluminum's actually, we'll leave it like that. It's okay. Let me see. I can get away with, oh, wait a minute. No, we cannot print that anyway. It's an odd size. So, oh, well. What can I say? Yeah, this size will not comply with 8 by 12. So I guess we can't do it. Oh, well. It's a nice thought. Gee whiz. Anyway, all right. Gosh, what a mess. But anyway, it'll give me something to do this week. I hope I can revive that. What I'm going to do is unplug it, turn it off, unplug it, wait a while, turn it back on, and see if that channel is revived. I think it has to do with that. It cannot be anything else because there's no way that a channel can go completely dead like that unless you disconnect it from power, from receiving any kind of signal from the computer or power. So if there aren't any more questions, even if there are, go ahead and post them now. We got a few more minutes. I have to go anyway around 2. Anyway, so go ahead and post them. Please go ahead and tell me what your plans are for this coming year. That would be fun. Tell me what your plans are. Tell me if you are planning to get any new equipment, printers and such. Tell me if you're planning to get any new material, whether it's media or any related stuff such as that. This coming year, what you're going to experiment on, what would you like to attempt to do. I would be very curious to know. So we got a few more minutes. I'm prepping my going away video here for the end of the year. I hope everyone has a wonderful remainder of the year. We're up to 37 people here. Wow, that's amazing because I didn't expect so many of you here with me today. Let's see. You're posting here that 1900 for the V850. Right. That's the one that got discontinued. These three right here. Um, it's too bad because they were so good. They were so good. Now my is the 500 gone as well? I believe it might be. The 600 replaced mine. So I don't know what they did to upgrade it or what they didn't do. Who knows? Um, but yeah, these were good printers. I don't really know of any other brand of printer or dedicated printer, standalone type printer that even came close to those Epson models, the so-called Perfection series. Okay, so if there aren't any questions, I thank you for being here with me this year. This was a wonderful year, even after my channel got hacked and it disappeared, even after all of the allegations against my behavior, which had nothing to do with me from YouTube. I find that to be ludicrous that they are not allowing me to advance to the next level, which would then qualify me for for monetization. So I have to rely on other things. Okay. All right. Let me see. The Fig 600 is available for refurbished, $300. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. By refurbished, I assume that it's probably got returned or something. A lot of times, refurbished doesn't mean that there was something wrong with it and they've repaired it. I think sometimes I have bought refurbished equipment and it is like brand new looking, like absolutely nothing has happened or even was ever even used. So they qualify it as a refurbished. All righty, I think that's going to be it. And I do appreciate you guys' support, watching my videos. Keep watching. I will be posting every day, still posting those older videos, catching up to everything that I had stored beforehand. Lucky for me, I was able to do that prior, and of course, not knowing what the future was going to be. Um, so, anyway, that's going to be it. And thank you, Henry. Happy New Year to you as well. Um, that's going to be it. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. And we'll see you next year. How does that sound? Bye bye, everyone. Let me get this ready and bye.